Tracy. Welcome back to more autumn decorating at my home here in Sussex, England. Last episode we were out here on the veranda decorating that. This episode we're going into the kitchen and we're going to be recycling, repurposing, making and creating, and best of all, not spending any money. So keep on watching. We're going to be shopping my home, reusing what I already have, shopping the garage, and best of all, shopping Mother Nature. No faux this week at all. First up are these two chandeliers. Now I brought these from my last property, had them in the kitchen since I first built the kitchen, and now I don't know whether I'm in love with them anymore. So I feel as though I need to do something with them. Now the ceilings are 10 foot high, hence the ladders coming out. We're going to go down into the field and we're going to have a little rummage around and see what we can find. I want something lightweight in there, and I quite often use this silver birch, but a lot of the leaves are on. There are some branches down on the ground, but we do have this cedar which has sadly died. We have absolutely no idea what's happened to it, and unfortunately it is going to have to come down next month, but I'm going to make sure that every part of it is reused. The lovely wispy branches at the end are very lightweight, so they're going to be perfect to use in the chandelier with all that lovely lichen as well. So are we ready, Bertie? Shall we go and decorate? Pinny going on because it is going to be a little bit messy. And to help contain the mess, I find putting all the twigs into an old bed sheet. This is actually an old duvet cover. Just helps with that clearing up process as well. Now, regular viewers will know that I love my hydrangeas. I grow lots of them and I love to dry them at this time of year, so they are an ideal decorating choice for the chandelier, along with some dried eucalyptus, because they're both very lightweight. And if you are looking to decorate any of your ceiling, your pendant, hanging lights, then go for lightweight choices. Otherwise, you could end up with a light on the floor and a big hole in the ceiling. I'm not going to use any glue, any wire, any fixing material whatsoever. I'm just going to use the chandelier itself and poke the material in and around. Once I get the twigs on, it's then easier to put the eucalyptus in, and once that's in, then just wedging in those hydrangea heads is super simple. They seem to just catch and stay in position. Now, I'm not going to go too far with the one on the right. I'm going to start on the one on the left as well. They're not going to be identical. They will be hopefully a little bit more than distantly related, but they're not going to be twins. If you're wondering where the furry supervisor is, he's having a snooze in the office. I'm not going for a neat, tight arrangement. I want something very loose, very natural. And if you're thinking, oh my goodness, that's a fire hazard, no, it's not. These are LED bulbs, so they don't get hot. To be honest with you, we hardly ever switch these lights on. So I was thinking about running some remote control little copper lights through, but I've decided I'm going to save these for Christmas. I will be dressing the chandeliers again for Christmas, so the lights will definitely go in at that point. Now, quick tidy up. See how simple it is with the sheet. Just lift it all up. I'll take that out to the garage and all those twigs will be used. Now on to number 2 decorating ideas, and this is going to be a creative one. I'm going to start off with the kitchen table with a runner. Of course I'm going to be measuring its position. Please tell me I'm not the only person that does this. I just like that runner to be in the exact center point. Oh, and the runner is made of hessian. I found a roll of it back in January when we were down in Cornwall and I did a shop and haul video, and it was only £5 from a charity shop, and I've got so much of it left. On top of the sisal placemats, which I use a lot in decorating, I'm popping on a couple of candelabras. These were originally glass and chrome and I painted them white in Annie Sloan chalk paint. Now, to keep your candles nice and straight, remember to pop in your museum wax. Works every time. Right, centerpiece. Oh, I'm so excited about this one. Regular viewers will recognise this lamp, this floor lamp that I found for just £20 in a charity shop on a recent shop and haul video. I did a big makeover of the lamp base and it now lives in the sitting room. but we were left with the lampshade. That colour just says autumn to me. I decided I wasn't going to wrap it as I normally do, but I just didn't want to waste it. So out came the chicken wire. I use chicken wire quite a lot as well. It's so useful. So I took the lampshade and flipped it over so the widest part was at the top, the narrower part at the bottom, and then cut off strips of the chicken wire and started to stuff it in. The chicken wire is great to hold any kind of decoration in position. So once that was done, it was back upon the bench. And what to put in it? Well, a long time ago, I did a big display of fresh magnolia. All the blossoms went, the leaves fell off, but the branches were really quite interesting. So I've kept them, just kept them in store. And so I've popped those in and made sure that that main branch goes through the actual lamp holder, the frame. Pulled out just some random old paints that I've got in the garage that are looking quite autumnal in colour, and pulled out more of the hydrangeas that have been drying. I love to colour up my hydrangeas. So pop those in there and they're held in position with the chicken wire. Fortunately, this is a really light piece to carry around. So you could do this on any size of lampshade. And if the colour wasn't quite right for you, you could change it by using some watered down chalk paint. Now, I'm going to add a few more bits to it. Now we're going to jump across to the other side of the room, and it's time to get creative in this corner. On this big mirror, I normally hang a wreath, but it was all faux. And remember, this time we are going natural. So I'm going to use a straw wreath base, and I'm going to use some leaves. Now this is a Magnolia grandiflora. It's got lovely thick waxy leaves, and as they drop off, I have been scooping them up. So I pulled out some of my florist's wire, and I am basically going to do a whole wreath of leaves. It's such a super simple but effective technique, and it's great fun to do with children, with grandchildren. Get out into the beautiful autumn air and pick up leaves. These leaves have got glue on them. They're a couple of years old and I've used them in lots of decorations. I cover them in clear wax. I apply it with a brush or a cloth and it preserves them. Now, as I was getting towards the end, I ran out of wire off that spool. So rather than tying more wire on, I decided I'd just get the glue gun out to finish off the last few. I wouldn't do the whole wreath with a glue gun, it would take ages. Now, once that's done, I like to hang it on the door and make sure that everything's in position, and then finish it off with some hairspray to give it that lovely glossy finish. More steps needed, as I've got to reach the top of that mirror to hang it. I actually keep them in my pantry cupboard, and I've got to say I use them nearly every day. I was always perching on things, and some viewers had told me to buy some. And I did, and I am so grateful because I love them. I've got a little nail on the back of the mirror. I've tied some string on the wreath and then just hung the string over and caught it on the nail, and it just holds it in position. Now, as I've been stood on there with my shoes on, I'm going to give that a spray of disinfectant, and then we're ready to style this corner of the countertop. First out is an old vintage tray that I picked up. I think I paid about £5 for that. I'm adding a placemat and a bowl from a job lot at auction. Now I love to use fir cones. I pick them up when I'm out walking with Bertie. I give them a clean, then pop them in the warming oven at 70 degrees overnight. They open up and then I can just shake out the seeds and they're good to decorate with. I use them all year round, but at this time of the year, they really come into their own. Now, I am adding some pumpkins. This is what they looked like originally, bright orange plastic pumpkins. And I just wrapped them all in the raffia. I cut the little stalk off, wrapped them and then glued the little stalk back on. And there we go, super simple bowl fillers. Now, what to put just there? We need something. So let's pop down to my storage sheds. And this one in particular is where I keep everything. I've been drying things that I've cut from the field, as well as all the hydrangeas and different grasses. So I've pulled a few out along with some covered wire. We've pulled the spray paints back out and some pots. Now I'm going to fill some of these up and then you'll see me bring them out later. I'm using the same colours that I used on the hydrangea heads to keep that continuity of colour going through. My favourite of these four is the Rust-Oleum metallic copper, particularly at this time of year. It has a beautiful autumnal tone to it. I've sprayed the teasels as well that I've popped in the arrangement. Now I'm making spirals from the covered wire, just wrapping them around a cardboard tube. They're really fun to pop into arrangements and to wreaths, and they just give another dimension to it. Now into this display I'm going to add 3 rulers. Why not? And you'll see those come out a little later. Now the big pot with the hessian is going to be perfect for this spot. I've added some extra cut grasses from the field and a few twigs. Across to the other side of the room now to my big old pine dresser. I'm very happy with the arrangement on the top and I'm going to keep all of that in situ. I've got twisted willow in a huge pot there with the copper lights running through and the lamp that I did a big makeover on. That's all in the video, I'll detail that below. That is going to stay in position, but we need to put something in the middle there and we need to work on this corner area. When I'm shopping my home to decorate, it really depends on what season it is, what is my colour scheme. And then I look for the shape, the colour, the texture, height, and pull all of those things together. And if something is the right shape, the right height, the right look and feel, but the wrong colour, then I'll just change the colour. More on this little pumpkin later. I'll tell you what that used to look like. So before spending any money on decorating, I would always recommend that you shop your home, that you shop nature, you shop your garage or your shed. Find out what you've got, what you can alter, and then make a list of what you need to buy. Most times you'll find you don't actually need to buy anything. Regular viewers will have noticed Bertie, my furry supervisor, is not in attendance, and that's because that chair wasn't dressed. Now it's ready for his lordship. Before we head over to the other corner with the big white dresser, we're going to do a bit of decoration around the sink. Well, quite frankly, we spend a lot of time there, don't we? So we need to make it nice and cozy. There's also going to be a little bit of a mini makeover as well. The candles I'm using in here, I'd love to be able to drop a link below for you, but unfortunately I can't. I picked them up at a random store in Spain. I had a little sneaky week out in Spain. I'm adding a couple of decorative tea towels to the basket. I tried to explain this to my husband. Decorative. Do not use them. Woe betide you if you use the decorative tea towels. And yes, he thinks I'm bonkers. Okay, candles. Now, I picked these up in Home Sense. They're kind of pumpkin shape with web design lids. I've only used them once. They were just £3 each, but they're not really my colourway. I've got 3 old tubes of Rub and Buff at the back of the garage, so we might as well get them out and bring them more into the autumnal vibe that I'm creating. I'm just going to use a mixture of the 3 colours, and for the lids I'm going to knock back that shine with my favourite gold spray. It looks like brass, and then I'm going to finish them off with some dark wax. To the other corner of the kitchen and to the big white dresser which we call Big Mo, Mahogany Mo. She used to be mahogany and now she's white, auction find, and I completely revamped her. As I did with this chair about 25 years ago. This was a £5 find and I just reupholstered it. Well, I didn't personally. I gave it to somebody to reupholster, but I just love that leopard skin fabric. I just think leopard skin is a neutral. Now, onto these pumpkins. This is how they used to look. Bright orange is not going to be my thing. Nothing wrong with it, but it's not my personal taste. So I did a stone effect on them, which is much more in keeping with my style of decor. So now I can bring the odd pumpkin out because it coordinates and blends in with all my other accessories. And if bright orange pumpkins are your thing, then own it, go with it. Do whatever it is that makes you smile. Decorating is meant to be fun, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise, and don't let anybody judge you. More pumpkins. Now, for somebody who doesn't really have a lot of pumpkins, they're all appearing in this video. These were actually real pumpkins. They were white. And then after I'd finished with them, styling with them, I popped them in the bottom of the range oven and I left them for 2 weeks and they dried, and then I finished them with white wax. I just want to say my kitchen floor is tile. I often get messages about the kitchen floor when I do a kitchen video. People think it's wood. It's meant to look like wood, but it's tile. It's practical. It's discontinued now, so unfortunately I can't drop any links below for you. but do check the description box, because wherever possible I will put links in for the products that I show or that I use, that I decorate with, that I revamp with. I'll also list the videos that I mention and lots of other information, so it's always worth having a little click on the more button, and a big drop down box will open up and you can have a little browse through there. Now this stone bowl used to look like this. This was just £2. So another example of how you can take something and then make it work for your personal decor. The other thing with decorating is it's quite a workout. The weight of this vase is actually terracotta, and I did my stone effect on it, but because it was terracotta and not glazed, it just was super absorbent. So that base mixture just sucked in, and that's how I get the smooth finish on those big white pots.